Hello, Remax West. A happy Monday. I hope you had a fabulous weekend. I have been paying attention to the news. I was trying to digest a lot of last week's news. There was a lot that happened last week. And then last week I hinted at, potentially war happening. And of course, Iran went and struck over the weekend to Israel. And that took a little while before it came out into the news. It's been an interesting roller coaster ride, that's for sure. Sometimes it feels like I'm drinking out of a fire hose, but I continue to think about what Frank Colatasti always says, and he says that we are in the people business. And that for me is really important, because even though I might have some bad news to deliver as far as what's really going on, I think that there's still an opportunity to make money and still take care of people and make sure that they don't lose the biggest investment and the biggest debt of their lives. So I thought, for those of you, this one is not going to be a short video, just so you know. So I'm already on my second cup of coffee, and I'd recommend that you grab a cup of coffee and sit back and enjoy, because I have a bunch of different notes here. And I thought I'd bring it all together for you, as far as, going on this roller coaster ride of what happens when I think about these things. And really, I'm so grateful that I studied both political science and law and society, because understanding what happens at a macro level, as far as politics, central banks, IMF, World Bank, all that sort of stuff, and politics, also helps understand what's happening at a micro level in Toronto, Ontario, and in Canada, in our backyard essentially, and how the law impacts society and how long that usually takes. A lot of policies that get impacted, that get put into place today, take anywhere from 18 months to 2 years before it starts to get realized, and before the whole country feels the entire impact, or before it goes through its entire lifespan, it could take up to 7 years. So anybody who's been following me or listening to me for years knows that since 2015, since the major bank policies, it's been a chain reaction ever since. And we're now starting to realize the impacts of it all, which is this current economic conditions. And so really what I want to say is that a lot of what we're experiencing today is really induced by policies. So paying attention to politics is really important, because the policies that get put into place really do have an impact on our lives. And having said that, some of the things that, were in the news last week is that Ottawa allows for a 30-year amortization for first-time home buyers on new homes. So this is what we are calling the nothing burger policy. This is complete, utter nonsense as far as I'm concerned. Our association, the Mortgage Professionals of Canada, has been trying to be in conversation and putting out papers to the government and making policy suggestions, and they're just not, exploring things with us, and so it's very disappointing. But this is for first-time home buyers who have to buy new construction only, so it can't be for resale market. And so what's selling in Toronto that's new construction? It's mostly condos. So what about those who want to buy a home? Well, that's got to be outside of Toronto or maybe GTA. And that means that they're further away from their family. So I'm not sure how the government thinks that they're helping Canadians, but by separating everybody. But anyways, so there's a lot of criticism around the whole thing, and I don't know, it will help a small percentage of people, but it's nothing that's like, oh, that's going to really help with the housing crisis. Then, of course, the Bank of Canada did not move interest rates. I can do a whole conversation just on the Bank of Canada and Tiff Macklin, and wow, that poor soul. He should have been dropping rates a while back ago, but he can't. And he can't, because if he does, our dollar would plummet, because in the US, the Federal Reserve can't drop rates yet because the economic indicators there are strong. So Canada's in a little bit of a pickle these days. Can you see the roller coaster that I'm on? What else do I want to tell you about? Oh, the rates. So if you look at my rate sheet, you'll probably notice, or you might not notice that, because nobody's talking about it, is that the 3-year bonds and 4-year bonds changed. 3-year rates changed a quarter point. Rates don't change a quarter point ever, or they haven't in a very, very, very long time. So for me, it's a big deal. A lot of people have been looking at the 2- and 3-year fixed rates as a short-term option. And yeah, the 3-year rate went up a quarter point. That's a lot. And the 4-year went up 15 basis points. And the reason why none of this is on the news is because the 5-year fix did not move at all. And yeah, so that's bonds. And then, oh, the federal government committed to exploring CR8 income verification to address mortgage fraud. And I don't know, as a political scientist, I'm going to say that that is complete, utter nonsense, because there's nothing to explore. If the government sat down with Mortgage Professionals Canada, it would be a whole 5-minute conversation, and it's a 1-page piece of paper. And basically, the whole 5 minutes of the conversation, the largest portion would be addressing the Prime Minister by saying, "Thank you, Mr. Prime Minister, for allowing this time to have this conversation. To address income fraud in Canada, all we need is borrowers to sign this one piece of paper that allows us to check in with CRA." And that would take care of most of fraud for shelter in Canada. And so I don't know what the government has to explore, but, you know, I guess when you're not really proficient in your job, I guess that's what happens. So I don't know, we'll see what happens with that. I have a whole bunch of notes here. I think I'd be here forever. The other thing I wanted to bring up is that there was a real concern that the RCMP brought up, and a lot of the notes of 148 pages, I think, or something like that. I think 98% of it was redacted. And basically it was talking about is that if Canadians knew just how bad things were, that there'd probably be civil unrest. And so I think that there's enough protests happening, or a lot of people that are disgruntled that are starting to realize that not everything is adding up the way that it should. And so if you feel this gut in your stomach saying something's wrong, not 100% sure, you're probably on the right path. And there's usually a joke about how actuaries are the only people who can make 2 + 2 = 5. And that's a math joke, because actuaries are actually what I like to call mathematical geniuses. They're math scientists. And the government is doing the same. The government is pretending that they're actuaries and that they, you know, they're trying to make us think that everything is adding up, and it doesn't. And the government this week went around Canada parading billions and billions of dollars, making promises on things that really is not going to amount to much. And those billions of dollars, the government is not spending it. They are spending it on our behalf. So we're paying for that. Actually, we're not paying for that. Those of you that have children and grandchildren, they're going to be paying for that. And yeah, so you know, this is all kind of scary stuff. And people, you know, as we start to bring it full circle as far as Frank Colatosti and that we're in the people business, as I start to continue to be in touch with my database and my clients, there is a segment of the market of Canadians that are, you know, where they are in their life versus where they meet current economic conditions. Some people are feeling the pinch. And so if we pretend that everything is okay and that 2 + 2 = 5 when it doesn't, those people are going to find themselves in big, big trouble in 2025 and 2026. So being in the people business looks like planting seeds right now, farming our database, making sure that people are okay. Unemployment, I've been talking about this for quite some time, and what I love about these videos is that you can go back and see, oh, Michelle's been talking about unemployment for quite some time. Unemployment is starting to creep up, and you know, it's creeping up pretty quickly. It's gone up 1% in a year, and that's a lot of jobs. So there's a lot to be concerned about. But at the same time, when I think back in my 25 plus year career, back in 2000, 2001, when the bubble happened, I have, you know, some awards over here from 2000 right up until 05, 06. Then I went to go work for GE Money Mortgages in Canada. So I went for a few years to work for an American company starting up a lending in Canada, and I got to watch the 07 and 08 blow up happen, which was amazing to learn. And when I came back into the business in 2008, I came to the Remax High Park office, and you know, I started in 09, even though the world had pretty much, as far as liquidity was concerned, completely dried up, which is starting to happen now, by the way. I was still picking up hardware. So there's plenty of opportunity for us to make a lot of business and to do really well and have some great years ahead. But we need to do it inside of taking care of our clients, making sure that they're taken care of, helping them preserve their wealth and their families and their well-beings as much as possible, and offering them solutions that will help them be within the parameters that they can survive while we try to navigate the upcoming years. Okay, so if you've made it this far, I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you for listening in. I really do appreciate it. As you can tell, I'm listening to all kinds of macro economics, trying to bring it down to how it relates to rates, so that when I am talking to your clients, I can customize the advice that I'm giving them based on their short-term and their long-term plans. So once again, thank you for trusting me with your clients. I really do appreciate it. I am still offering 15, 20 minute, half an hour free consultations for those clients that are renewing. Even in a year from now, 2 years from now, if they've lost their jobs, if something has happened in their lives, if there's emergencies, they might not want to break their first mortgages. They might need a temporary solution for second mortgages. I've been doing a few of those as of late. So yeah, if you need any help with that sort of stuff, please, please, please let me know. Have yourselves a great week. It will be interesting to see what happens with this week's budget. So I have no idea what I'm going to be talking about next week, but it'll be interesting to see how the budget is going to shape that conversation going forward. Have yourselves a great week. Take care. Bye.